You asked for it. Here's the full story. What if I told you the greatest basketball player in history was once rejected by his own high school team? The pain that nearly ended Michael Jordan's dream became the very reason the world would never forget his. The gym had finally gone quiet. Basketballs stopped bouncing. Shoes stopped squeaking across the polished wooden floor. Students crowded around a single sheet of paper taped to the wall. It was the varsity team roster. Among them stood 15-year-old Michael Jordan. He had worked hard. He believed he had earned his place. His eyes moved slowly down the list. Once, then again, his name wasn't there. Instead of celebrating with his friends, Michael walked away carrying a disappointment that felt impossible to understand. No one watching that moment could have imagined they were looking at a future basketball legend. Long before the world knew his name, Michael Jordan was simply a teenager who loved sports. Born on February 17, 1963, in Brooklyn, New York, he later moved with his family to Wilmington, North Carolina. His father, James Jordan, encouraged competition and hard work. His mother, Dolores Jordan, taught discipline and responsibility. Michael played baseball, football, and basketball with endless energy. But there was one challenge. He wasn't the tallest player. Many teammates were bigger and stronger. If he wanted to succeed, talent alone would never be enough. Without realizing it, Michael was already building the habits that would one day separate him from everyone else. The new school year brought a new opportunity. As a sophomore at Emsley-Alaney High School, Michael eagerly joined the varsity basketball tryouts. He practiced hard and believed he had played well enough to earn a spot. But the coaches faced difficult choices. Older, more physically developed players were often favored for varsity, while younger athletes continued developing on the junior varsity team. When the final decision came, Michael was not selected for varsity. Instead, he was placed on the junior varsity squad. It felt like a crushing disappointment. For Michael, it wasn't just a team he had missed. It was the dream he thought he had already earned. Michael later remembered going home and crying after learning he hadn't made the varsity team. It was one of the most painful moments of his young life. Many teenagers would have quit. Some would have blamed the coaches. Others would have convinced themselves they simply weren't good enough. Michael chose a different path. He couldn't change the decision, but he could change himself. From that day forward, every practice mattered. Every missed shot became another reason to improve. Every weakness became another skill to master. The boy who left the gym in disappointment was beginning a journey that would eventually inspire millions around the world. He didn't know it yet, but this setback would become the foundation of his greatness. The coaches had made their decision. Now Michael had to make his. Instead of complaining, he went back to work. On the junior varsity team, he treated every practice as if thousands of people were watching. He stayed after training to practice his jump shot. He worked on his speed, his footwork, and his ball handling. His father, James Jordan, often encouraged him to compete, not against other players, but against the player he had been the day before. Slowly, disappointment turned into determination. Every hour in the empty gym became another step toward the future he refused to give up. Michael's improvement didn't happen overnight. It came one practice at a time. His coaches noticed his energy. His teammates noticed his confidence. Most importantly, Michael noticed something inside himself beginning to change. He stopped thinking about being rejected. Instead, he focused on becoming stronger, faster, and smarter every single day. Around this time, he also experienced a significant growth spurt, helping him compete more effectively against taller opponents. But height alone wasn't the answer. Many players grew taller. Very few matched relentless effort with growing talent. The next basketball season brought another opportunity. Michael returned to varsity tryouts. This time, everything was different. The coaches saw a player who had grown, not just in height, but in confidence, skill, and discipline. His quick first step was sharper. His jump shot was smoother. His determination stood out during every drill. This time, his name appeared on the varsity roster. The disappointment that had once filled him with tears had become fuel for improvement. Michael had earned the opportunity he dreamed about. But making the varsity team wasn't the final goal. It was only the beginning of a much bigger journey. Over the next 2 seasons, Michael became one of North Carolina's best high school basketball players. College scouts began filling the stands. The teenager who had once been overlooked was now drawing attention from some of America's top basketball programs. His performances earned him a place in the prestigious 1981 McDonald's All-American Game, where many of the nation's best high school players competed. It was proof that hard work had changed his future. But an even bigger decision was waiting. Several universities wanted him. The next step would shape not only Michael Jordan's career, but the future of basketball itself. By G.O.A.T, Michael Jordan had become one of the most exciting young basketball players in America. College coaches wanted him on their teams. After careful thought, he accepted a scholarship to the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. There, he would play under legendary coach Dean Smith, a man known for discipline, teamwork, and developing young athletes. Michael arrived with confidence, but he also understood the challenge ahead. In high school, he had become a star. In college, he was just another freshman, surrounded by some of the nation's best players. Once again, he had to prove he belonged. Coach Dean Smith expected more than talent. He demanded discipline, patience, and teamwork. Michael quickly learned that college basketball was different. Every player had been the best on their high school team. Now they had to work together. Instead of chasing personal glory, Michael focused on improving every part of his game. He listened carefully. He practiced harder. He earned the trust of his coaches and teammates. The lessons he learned at North Carolina would shape him for the rest of his career. Greatness, he discovered, wasn't built by talent alone. It was built through discipline, preparation, and trust. March 29, 1982. The NCAA National Championship game. North Carolina faced Georgetown in one of the biggest games in college basketball. Late in the game, North Carolina trailed. Coach Dean Smith called a play. The ball moved around the court. Then it reached freshman Michael Jordan. There was no time to hesitate. Michael rose into the air and released. A smooth jump shot from just inside the free throw line. The ball dropped through the basket. North Carolina took the lead with 15 seconds remaining and held on to win the championship. Lul Shisen, Lu Shi'ar. Years later, Michael said, that shot gave him the confidence to know he could perform under pressure. That championship shot changed everything. Michael continued to grow at North Carolina, earning national recognition as one of college basketball's brightest stars. After his junior season, he made the difficult decision to enter the 1984 NBA draft. The Chicago Bulls selected him with the 3rd overall pick. He was no longer the teenager who wondered if he was good enough. He had earned his place among the best young players in the world. But professional basketball would test him in ways he had never experienced before. The greatest chapter of Michael Jordan's journey was about to begin. Michael Jordan entered the NBA in 1984 with enormous expectations. From his very first season with the Chicago Bulls, his speed, athleticism, and scoring ability amazed fans across America. He won the NBA Rookie of the Year award and quickly became one of basketball's biggest stars. But personal success wasn't enough. The Bulls kept falling short in the playoffs. Stronger, more experienced teams stood in their way. Every season ended with the same painful question. Could Michael Jordan ever lead a team to a championship? The answer would take years of hard work to discover. Throughout the late G.O.A.T, one team seemed impossible to beat: the Detroit Pistons. Their physical defense earned them the nickname, the Bad Boys. Again and again, they eliminated Chicago from the playoffs. Many people wondered if Michael could ever win a championship. Instead of making excuses, he and his teammates became stronger. They trained harder. They improved their teamwork. Michael realized that winning in the NBA required more than incredible talent. It required trust, leadership, and sacrifice. The same determination that carried him after. Missing the varsity team was still pushing him forward. This time, the entire basketball world was watching. In G.O.A.T, everything changed. The Chicago Bulls defeated the Los Angeles Lakers to win the first NBA championship in franchise history. As the final seconds ticked away, Michael Jordan embraced the basketball and cried with joy. Years of disappointment had finally led to triumph. The teenager who once walked away from a varsity roster in silence was now standing on basketball's biggest stage as an NBA champion. It wasn't luck. It wasn't destiny. It was the result of years of relentless work, resilience, and belief that failure could become fuel instead of defeat. Michael Jordan would go on to win 6 NBA championships, 5 NBA Most Valuable Player awards, 10 scoring titles, and 2 Olympic gold medals. His influence transformed basketball around the world. Yet, when people tell his story, they often return to one simple moment. A 15-year-old boy standing in front of a varsity roster. His name wasn't there. History remembers Michael Jordan because of everything he achieved afterward. Not because of the setback itself. Failure did not make him great. His response to failure did. The next time life tells you, "Not yet," remember the teenager who didn't make the varsity team. Sometimes, the moment that breaks your heart is the same moment that begins your greatest journey.